the housing challenge, and time and again you get to hear that bulldozers have moved into certain areas across the country to just pull down some houses. How does that get to happen? Are people not taking advantage, or and they're aware of the functions or stipulations in the Land Use Act? How do we get to all of these positions? Well, those are part of the matters we'll be considering now, as we're joined by Nkechi Chukwueke, who is a public affairs analyst and a lawyer. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
Well, when it comes to land matters, and there are lots of people who jump to conclusions about so many things. But when you see these bulldozers moving, first emotions will set in, but when push comes to shove, the law has got to set in. From the look of things, from what you've seen, demolitions going on, not just in Abuja, Lagos, across the country. What do you think is the fundamental reason why this happens?
Thank you very much. There are obvious reasons why houses could be demolished. One, if a land is acquired illegally. Two, if the land is built on government reserved area. Three, if the property in question is also built on an area designated for another purpose. For instance, if this area is for residential building and somebody comes here to put up a factory that will not be, friendly to the neighboring adjoining residents, it might be demolished. Again, government can demolish any house, land, property for overriding public interest. Overriding public interest. That is to say, if, like the Badagry Expressway, you see houses were demolished, people were relocated, that is overriding public interest. They needed to expand the land to benefit the larger population, but not without a condition. There must be certain rules that should be followed before such things will be carried out.
Okay, like compensating?
Like, not even before you get to compensation, you first of all give notices, put them on notice, get their documents documented, and, evaluate the damages or the losses they will incur. Prior to the acquisition or the reclaiming by government, they must have had some form of title documents. They've been using that property, they've been living there for years, they've been using it for commercial purposes. So you can't just wake up overnight because you are going to use it for overriding public interest and not considering the damages, the losses they will suffer. You just demolish. No, the government law will frown at it. So you must put them on notice, and there must be agreement on how to compensate and what's the value of the compensation.
Okay, what about houses that are, okay, we hear cases in Abuja, across the country, where the estates are built and they are demolished. I mean, before those estates, before they even begin to develop, the developers begin to build, they get approvals from government, don't they?
Yes.
You submit a plan and it is approved before you start building. How is it that government just goes in to demolish those kind of places?
Oh, that's the question everybody's asking, especially in Abuja. Well, not just peculiar to Abuja, other parts of the country. But there's this recent one, classical case that is ongoing. I'm sure everybody has heard about it. I also read it about it from the papers, the Mineral Housing Estate, the 500 housing units that was demolished. And you begin to ask, 500 housing units, it was built, it wasn't built overnight. It wasn't built even under 1 month, under 1 year. It was going on for at least for 3 years, 500 housing units. So now the question is, for you to go and demolish such an estate, when people are looking for housing, when people are looking for shelter, for whatever reason it is, the person must have some documents. I don't see anybody, any normal human being, no matter how much you have, you just see an empty land, you go into begin to build, unless the person is insane or madness. So, if you have such documents, title documents, either from the government, from the Bale, the area council, the family land, these are the ways you can acquire land in Nigeria. And now government feels, oh, you didn't get it rightly. They should also put you on notice. You bring what you have, they look at it, and you now ask, why would they even allow you to get to that estate? You clear the bush, you begin to build, you finish, you roof, and all of that. Just about maybe moving in. And these are even, as I was told, there is housing units for mortgage, not outright sale. So when anybody is willing to, how do I put it now, soften the suffering of masses concerning houses. I don't know if you have any house. A lot of people don't have houses. So if somebody has gone to build, to give at a lower cost, to share the price, the payment over a period of time, it's not something that government will wake up one day, overnight, and begin to demolish. So that's the question people keep asking, and when they meet lawyers and people like us, they will ask, how do we acquire land?
And I'm sure, if you allow me coming here, sorry, if you allow me coming here, I'm sure we still have the Ministry for Housing, and we have inspectors who go around. If you say, truly, well, you just don't wake up in the morning and see a building on a somewhere on an empty land, you must have a supervisor, those who would definitely go around and inspect. Meaning, well, are we talking about a case of corruption now? Maybe some money is exchanged hands, they process the papers and allow you build, and when the next man comes, he tells you that all documentations were actually false.
It could happen that way, but whichever way it goes, there should be fair hearing. There should be appropriate way of handling issues. Assuming somebody has trespassed in your land, that's trespassing, if you call it trespass. You also give the person time to be heard. Bring out your documents, let's see what you have, and how did you come about these titles. If the titles are false, well, they can compensate you depending on the estate of interest you've put in that land or in the business or whatever. And otherwise, if the property is faulty, the documents are faulty, the government could take the land, but also make a provision for you. But the question you ask, you don't sleep over your rights. Laches and acquiescence, that's what we call it in law. If somebody has trespassed into your land for a period of time, like the case in hand we are talking about, those houses were built within 3 years. It's not something that was built in a day, and these are 500 housing units. Where the government is along Airport Abuja Road. It's on the highway, not like Channels that is a little bit in here of the major road. I mean, if not that I'm here this morning, for maybe 10 years, I wouldn't know something like this is going on. But if you're passing this expressway road, you will see Redeem. It's a classical case. And sometimes, maybe you come tomorrow, you see I've erected another building in that place. You allow me, I finish, about to move in, you now come and say no. Government will also frown at it. So, if coming back to your question, there are titles, there are procedures, there are ways of getting these things done. You must bring the parties to give them fair hearing to express themselves. Isn't
the law the same? Does it matter if it's one house or 500 or 1,000 houses? Because
no, the law is the same. The law is the same, whichever way it goes. When the government is reclaiming or repossessing a land, unless it's for overriding public interest, when somebody has a title to that property, and if it's for overriding public interest, for the reason for which government is taking that land must be met. Assuming now, like the Ibadan Expressway I used as an example, the Badagry Express Road, they reclaim those properties, they demolish some, and tomorrow the rail line will not pass that area again. Government will return those lands to the owner. They will return it back to the owner. Yeah, they will not use it for another purpose because it's not for overriding public interest. But for instance, the property we are talking about here, the 500 housing unit, is for public interest. Because one man cannot live in 500 housing units.
Yeah, but if it goes against the master plan of the region, it behoves on government, because the Land Use Act stipulates that the government can, even if you have a title, yes, the government can still acquire the land.
Yeah, even if you have a title, the government can still acquire the land. But what I'm saying that, like I told you earlier on, there's no man, unless he's a madman, that wake up one morning and see an empty land, you want to just go and build. So if the land is defective, ab initio, the government should have stopped you at the initial time, at the initial, when you started. When somebody has trespassed into your land, you come back in your house one day, somebody has moved into your house, you keep quiet, the person relaxes, he's sleeping, maybe he has already made food you want to eat, you now come and say, this is my house. I mean,
yeah, but if one did not check to either see that the land is acquired free of acquisition and is being gazetted,
there's no how anybody in the right sense and his right thinking will not want to make a research before going into such a property. We are talking about here not one housing unit. I'm talking about the demolitions going on in Nigeria. Even when the Morocco estate was taken up, the other estates in Abuja and all of that, they have some title. Whether the title is defective now or is legal, that's what we are talking about. And if it's defective, they will give you time to come and explain how you come about that property or how you come about the land.